All right, hello everyone, welcome back. This is week 2, and this will actually basically be your lab part that you're going to do this week in class. Now let me go out to our course real quick and go over a couple things. So I go out to our courses, and we go here, and we go to week 2. Actually, we have course videos here somewhere. Course videos. Make sure you guys can see them. Course videos. So if you go to course videos, you'll see how to, for this week, get lessons. So I'm not going to go through this, but it's recommended that you check out Terminal Basics 1, 2, 3, and 4. It'll give you all the basics on how to do certain features. This one right here, Get Basics Video 1, is basically what I'm going to recap. This right here doesn't apply to this course because we're using GitLab. And the Git push and pull doesn't apply. I mean, the sequence of how we do it applies, but in this case, we're using Git instead of, we're using GitLab instead of Bitbucket. But I'm going to do a recap of how to do that today, and that'll be part of your assignment this week, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to go to gitlab.com. And I don't think we did this last week in class, but we may have, and I don't remember, so it's amazing what you forget. So if we haven't did this, you can bear with me. Again, click register, sign in. And I already have an account, but I'm going to set up a new account under a different name, different email address. So what you're going to do is you're going to click the register and put your name. I'm going to put Jeff Seaman. I'm going to use my other account, Jeffrey.Seaman, West Liberty. Apparently, username already taken. So I'm an idiot, so I can't use the email, so my name's going to be Jeffrey Seaman. He's already taken, that's me probably, so I'll do that's second, oh geez, J. Seaman, West Liberty. Alright, so that I come up with a username, and my email address is alright, so let's confirm that. You'll have to do the same thing, but with your account. I would recommend that you use your CCAC, it'll make it a lot easier. And then a password, whatever you want your password to be. And I'll just click I'm not a robot. So I have all this in here and hit register. Alright, sure, we'll save it. We'll say request new confirmation. No confirmation email received. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my email. So let me go to my inbox. Let's see here, refresh it. There we go. GitLab confirmation. Click on it. Let's see, thanks for signing up to GitLab. And I'll do confirm account, and then that'll bring me up to the sign in page. I'll have my username and password and click sign in. Awesome. So that right there is how to set up GitLab. All right. So next thing we're going to do is I'm going to create a project, and I'm going to call it something. So each time you create what do you call it? Geez, I can't even talk. Every time you create a repository, you have to come up with a different name. So for this one, I'll call it my first Python. You know what? Let's do this. Week 2. I'll do this. I'll do CIT119 week 2. Perfect. All right. So that's what I call my description. This is only for test. Now, down here you have different visibility, private, internal, public. Now, if you do public, you can allow people to make changes to your source code, but since it's a class, we're going to choose private and click Create Project. Excellent. So now we have a repository. This right here is our location of our repository. It'll have all the way something.get. That'll be your name. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new file. So as you see here, I clicked on this create new, and I am going, well, you know what? let me think about this. Yeah, let's create a new file. For file name, I'll change this to README. And then we'll just add one line here. This is a test file. That's it. We'll talk about what a commit message is here shortly. So for right now, I'll say adding a new README file. That's it. And hit commit. Perfect. So we have this README file. So now we need to get in terminal. So for those using Windows, I'm not using Windows. If you're using Windows, you'll go to Start Find and you'll type in Git Bash. But since I'm using a Mac, I'm using Terminal. So I'm going to come down to Terminal. And let's see here. All right, let's see where I'm at. All right. Okay. So next thing you need to do is find a location. We need to set up so first thing we need to do is set up a local repository. So let's create a checklist here of things that we have to do. So let's see here. All right, so our checklist is create a local repository. That's one thing. Next thing we need to do is clone our GitLab. Think of it as our cloud repository. And then thirdly, after we clone our GitLab repository, we need to figure out how to check in a file. And then we need to figure out how to check out a file. And we need to modify an existing file and pull a file from the server and so forth. All right, so we have a ton of different things to do. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a folder. So I'm going to go out, for me, I'm going to go out I have a bunch of folders here. I need to clean them up. Documents, I have this Git folder out here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to call it CIT119. All right, so now it's called CIT119, so we have it there. I'm going to take this over here. As you notice here, I'm going to clear. If you want to clear, you type in CLEAR. I'm going to do PWD, and if you watch my terminals videos, you'll know what PWD stands for. It basically shows you what directory you're in. So if I do an LS, I see the 119 here. So hopefully you guys can see this. I'll make this screen bigger. So hopefully we make it bigger. You can see it. So now I have this. So I'm going to do something called a CD, change directory, into CIT119. Watch the terminal videos, you'll see what that means. So right now if I do a list, LS stands for list your variables. So I'm not really going to go through what LS and all this stuff goes for. Watch the terminal videos 1 through 4, and you'll see what that means. All right, so I had no file there, so this is good. I had the file there. So when I clone this, I'm going to clone it, and I'm going to be able to get everything that's on here, and I'll have my README file on here. So a quick thing is go back to your main menu. Actually, let's do this first. We need to initialize it, because what this means is this library is not initialized for Git. So you have to type in Git, INIT, and hit enter. And you'll get a message that says initialize empty Git repository. Awesome. So now what I need to do is clone the repository. So let's see here. Let's go back to overview. I thought it showed it on here. Well, what I'm trying to show you, I don't see it here. All right, whatever. So here's what you need to do: is you need to type in git clone, and then copy this URL here, this whole URL. So if you double click on it twice, you'll get the file, copy, and then I'll do a, you can do a Control V or a paste. So what I'm doing is I'm doing something called git clone and my address up here, and then hit enter. All right, cloning remote project you're looking for cannot be found. All right, so let's see if I did it right. So let's do ls again. We'll go back. All right, CIT119 clear. Maybe I copied the wrong address. You know what also is important? Make sure you have HTTPS selected. So maybe I had the whole thing up. I don't know. We'll do copy and try it again. So let's do git clone. Maybe I had a space there. I don't know. All right, let's see here. All right, let's go here. Project you were looking for cannot be found. All right, why is that? Am I on the internet? I'm on the internet. Let's see. All right, so I'm not sure what happened. I actually switched accounts and see if this helps out. So I have to create a new directory again, so we'll go back. I'll make a new directory. Right now I'm under, I'll go to WD, I'm under documents. I'm going to make a new directory. And we'll call it my git. All right, so now if I clear it, I should have nothing in there. I need to CD into it, do my git. Clear it. If I do ls, my git is right there, perfect. All right, so I'm in my git right now. Let's see if I can do this now. Let me actually, one of the things I should have mentioned first is this git config is important. So you want to configure your git process, so you could just copy this. So that it's important. So let's say that you are working on a team project and you're submitting code back and forth. It'd be nice to know who someone is instead of getting someone that says Superman or this that person. So you actually have someone's physical name. So I'll Control B and set that up. The other thing is I'm just going to grab this, copy it, and Control V. Awesome. So that sets up my configuration. Here's the thing I was looking for earlier, is this git clone information. So you could just copy it here. So I'm going to copy it and paste. It should ask you for your username and password. All right, so warning, you appear to have cloned an empty repository, which is fine because we had created that one repository. We don't have anything out there. So that's fine. So right now we have the empty repository called CIT119. So if I do an ls here, you'll see we have communicated. So basically what this means is we have set up a connection between GitLab and our repository. All right, so the next thing that we want to do is it gives you some ideas of what other things that you can do here. So this is actually part of your assignment. So this is what I'm looking for you to do in an assignment. Nothing specific. So CD into your directory. So actually, I'm thinking about it. Let's see here. If I go to, actually, wait, let me see here. If I go to that directory on my computer, as you see here, I go to that directory. Look at that. Everything's there now, that directory. So we'll go back and forth and look at that. So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a file. I'm going to call it touch. If you type in touch and then the name of a file, it creates a file. So I'm going to call this, let's see, so we're not going to make an actual Python program. Actually, we can. Let's say my first program .py, which is the, we'll learn about this next week, but it's the abbreviation for Python. And hit that. Now, if I pull my, I created that file, if I pull my directory over my computer, look at that, that Python file is there. So now we're going to do edit it. So we can edit it two different ways. We could come in here and type view my first program .py, and it brings up information like this. And you could type in I, and you could add, let's see here, you could say, oh, what can we see here? 1 second. We could do a comment here for now. Let's say, this is a test of me working on comments in Python, and then hit escape on your keyboard, and then hit colon, WQ exclamation mark, and save it. Now if I view it, it has that information in there. You can hit colon, NQ for quit, or you can come back over to the file right here, and we can open it with anything. I'll open it with Sublime. So if you see this, I'll pull it up in Sublime, and it says this is a test message. Let's say that I want to add something else here and say this is a second message, okay? And then what I can do is I can close Sublime. It'll ask me, do you want to save it? Yes, I do. Now if I go back over to here and do a view, boom, we have the second message there. So two different ways that you can edit your file. Through here, or through your editor, or through Notepad, or whatever the case is, okay? So now we have that information. So now let's actually show you how Git works, okay? So we have that new file. Let me think here. Yeah, let's just do this. Can't think. All right, so let's type in git status, and you'll see that we have a new file that's been added, my first program. When it's in the red, that means it's been unstaged. We need to stage it. So two ways that you can stage it. You can type in git add my first program.py. So actually, if you do that, then that will stage it, okay? But if you have multiple files, so let's say that, let's come down here and create multiple files. So another way that you can create, you can't do that way there. So let's do this. Let's actually exit out of here, and I'll show you an example, so this will be better. So let's see, we're in here. So let's create a new file called readme, actually let's call it readme.txt. Let's create another file called, and as you see when I'm creating this, the files are being added there. So I'll say another file called instructions.txt, maybe another one called log.log. We'll say user log.log. Boom. All right. So now let's say that I wanted to, let me add some text to this real quick. Sublime. Let's say this is a test message. Awesome. Close it. Oops. Saves it. I'll do instructions. I'll say this is instructions on how to do this. Do what? I don't know. Save it. And then at user log, I'll open it with Adam. And I'll say this is a user log to do something or another. Whatever. Close it. That's if I want to save it. Yeah. Save it. All right, cool. So now we have all these files here. All right, so let me show you this. So if I minimize this the best I can, allow this screen there, whatever. All right, so I have an ls. So I want to add these files. If I do git add readme.txt, well, let's do git status real quick. So git status, and we have 4 files that have been just unstaged. They're sitting there and they need to be staged. So if I do git add instructions.txt and hit enter. Now if I do git status again, look at this. We have one new file called instructions. Says, guess what? This guy is staged. Then we have these 3 files that are not staged. The purpose for this is to say that you're working on multiple files. You don't want to stage everything. You only want to stage one thing. You're only going to focus on that one individual thing and keep it out there while you're working on it. Now, if you want to add everything, you can type in git add dot. Hit enter. Now, if I go to git status again, guess what? Everything's been added. So when it's in red, it's unstaged. When it's in green, it's been staged. All right, so now we're clearing this. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to commit the message and push the message. Push means we push it up to the cloud. So now if we type in git commit -m, quotation marks, edit new files for my program. That's it. And hit. So you want to make sure you have it in that combination. You have commit space -m space quotation message in there and hit enter. And as you see here, it says four files have changed, 5 insertions means that it's been committed. So now if you type in git log, it'll show you a commit ID, a long unique ID, your name, your email address, when it was committed, and the files that were added. So the next thing that we need to do is push our messages. So let's actually look at our Git repository real quick. So we go to our details there, and you see we have no files. We have nothing out there. Awesome. So now what I'm going to do is type in git push origin master. Origin is the name of the directory. Master is the name of your branch. By default, we all have a master. And hit enter. Now for you, since I'm already connected to this, it might ask you for your username and password for the first time. You'll type in your username and password for GitLab. So this right here tells me that it successfully did it. Now I'll go out to overview. Look at this. Oops. Add a new file. So it has all this information there that I just added. I could come to activity. It'll have that, hey Jeff, created these files here 10 minutes ago. Let's say that I go into my first program, adds this information, and so forth. All right. So let's say that we want to make a change to this, right? So at this level, we can hypothetically, I can click at it right here and say, I don't need this message here. Now, the theory of this is you download it on your computer and you make the change and push it up. But let's do that and commit changes. All right, so we made a change to that. All right, and you know what? Also, let's create a new file. Let's go back to files and click on plus, new file, and I will call it something.txt. And I'll say this is a test only. Perfect. And I could have a message here. Created a new test message. Leave the branch to master and hit commit. Alright, so now I'm going to go back to my environment here, and I'm going to type in git pull origin master. So you're pulling means you're pulling stuff down from the cloud. Hit enter. It says that there's 2 new file changes. So if I click on the changes that we made, which was something was a new one that we added, so now we have that something file. And then I think my first program right here, I'll open it up in Atom. Look at that. We have that now. We don't have what we originally had. So it had made that change. So then I could come in here, for example, let's say I want to pull Atom and have a test message. Let's take this out of here and wipe it out. But this is Jeff from your class. Now, what I did is I got rid of that first line and I'm replacing it with something else, okay? And I want you to see what happens. All right, so now I replace that. I come in here and I want to do it. What do I need to do? I need to add it. So I need to do git status. It'll show that readme has been changed. And then do git add dot. Now I'll do a git status again. Shows it's ready. I'll get git push origin master. I might be going to type fast because I've been doing this forever. All right, so everything's up to date. Let's see if that's right. Oh, you know what? Okay. So I try to push it without committing the message. So if I go to git status again, it should be in the green. You have to commit it. So git commit -m made a change to the readme file. Hit enter. All right, now it's ready. I can do git log, shows it committed it. So now if I do git push origin master, enter. Now it shows that something's changed. So now let me go over to git here and readme file. And there's your class. So hopefully this helped you out a little bit, give you an example. So this week's assignment will be based on you creating your local repository, connecting it to Git, creating a file locally on your machine, pushing it up to Git, creating another file up on the server, and pulling it down, and giving me access to your library. So I'll explain the instructions what I'm basically looking for. So I'm looking for you to do a screenshot of what you accomplished. If you have any questions, please shoot me a message. If not, thanks for watching and listening. Have a great week. I'll see you guys next week.